Mistfall Hunter arrived, drawing attention with its dark premise, intense combat, and a world full of dangers, loot, and decisions that can alter your entire run. But behind the frantic action, this game hides several interesting details that many people missed. And that is exactly what you are going to discover right now. I'm Matthew, and the video is about to start. A detail that, for me, completely changes the level of attention on Mistfall Hunter is having David Brevik's involvement behind it. For those who know, he is simply one of the creators of Diablo and Diablo 2, games that practically defined what we know as ARPGs today. So it's not just another project trying to ride the wave. There is a very strong foundation of experience there. And the most interesting part isn't just the name itself, but the direction he is backing. Instead of repeating a formula, the guy decided to bet on something quite different, mixing ARPG with extraction. This shows a certain confidence in the idea, because someone with that track record could easily play it safe and make more of the same. But here, the premise is to take a risk. I think this also raises an important point about design. When someone who helped build the genre decides to alter its structure, there is usually a vision behind it. Maybe it's an attempt to evolve the classic loot loop, or even correct that feeling of automatic grinding that many ARPGs have today. That doesn't guarantee the game will be good, but it certainly puts Mistfall Hunter on another level of curiosity. It's not just another different ARPG, it's a project that has the chance to bring new ideas coming precisely from someone who helped create the standard everyone follows to this day. The fact that it mixes PvE and PvP in the same session creates a constant feeling of danger, because you are never dealing only with the environment. There is always the chance another player might show up and change everything in seconds. I find it interesting because it makes every match more unpredictable. It is not just about defeating grotesque monsters or advancing calmly. It is about making quick decisions all the time, knowing that any step could draw the attention of a much bigger threat. This pressure turns the game into something tenser and more alive. This premise increases the value of every achievement. When you face a corrupted creature and still manage to get out alive with the loot, the victory feels much more earned. But at the same time, the risk of running into another guild hunter means even a good run can turn into a disaster in a matter of moments. This hybrid genre is the heart of the experience. It is precisely this mix of AI-controlled enemies and the unpredictable behavior of other players that should make Mistfall Hunter stand out. For me, it is this type of tension that makes the gameplay tenser, more strategic, and much more memorable. We have seen it all in the world of extraction ARPGs, radiation zones, poison, generic toxic mist. But what these guys pulled off here is on another level. The so-called Gilden Mist, or Golden Mist if you prefer, is not just a pretty environmental obstacle to force you to run to the evacuation point. This corrosive smoke is literally the blood of dead deities. Picture the scene. Genuine gods, beings of unimaginable power, slaughtered in a war against the outer gods. Cosmic entities from outside reality that probably shouldn't even be looked at directly. And when these gods fell, their blood did not just soak the ground, it evaporated, condensed, and turned into this golden mist that now engulfs the continent of Weaverreach. What really gets me is the contrast between the color and the nature of the thing. We usually associate gold with divinity, reward, sacred light. Except here, this gold is pure cosmic poison. It is as if the divine essence itself was perverted by defeat, or perhaps by the influence of the outer gods, and what remained was a mist that doesn't just kill, it corrupts. We are not talking about creatures that simply die and turn into zombies. The Gilden Mist is twisting life on a fundamental level. Everything that breathes, everything that pulses in Weaverreach is being rewritten by something born from a battle that took place between entities that shouldn't even be on the same plane of existence as us. And the worst part? There is no way to simply wait for the mist to clear. It is the new normal. This completely changes how I imagine extractions working in the gameplay. You are not just entering a dangerous area to gather loot while a timer counts down. You are literally invading a continent that is under the effect of divine grief, or rather, an active divine poison. The mist is not a weather event, it is a living, expanding, and reactive environmental entity. And when you stop to think about it, this origin perfectly explains why the game fits into the extraction genre. It makes no sense for you to try to conquer this place. It makes sense for you to want to get in, take what you need, and get out before the blood of the gods turns you into just another aberration. Weaverreach is not a territory to conquer. It is a decaying corpse being consumed by a celestial infection. What NetEase and the development team did here is connect mechanics and narrative in a way that few extraction ARPGs bother to do. The mist is not an invisible wall or a generic excuse for PvPvE. It is the heart of the game's cosmic horror. And honestly, I love it when a game of this genre respects the player's intelligence by creating a threat that sounds as ancient as it is dangerous. The next time you are running with your stamina bar in the red, trying to find the extraction portal while the screen turns golden, remember, you are not running from a gas. You are swimming in the frozen blood of a god that died screaming. Look, there is something in Mistfall Hunter that completely changes how you play, and I'm being serious. The loot or lose system. It isn't that you died and lost a little bit that we've seen elsewhere. Here, if you fall before extracting, especially to another player, you lose absolutely everything you were carrying on that raid. Zero. Nothing. It's the kind of rule that makes your stomach turn in the middle of a good match. And the crazy thing is that this isn't a side detail. It's the heart of the game. Every run revolves around one single thing: entering the mist, picking up the best gear you can, and finding a safe exit. It sounds simple when you put it like that, but in practice, it becomes a constant tension. You start calculating every step, every noise, every extra second you stay just to grab one more thing. I've caught myself thinking, is it worth risking this chest at the back of the map? Because in Mistfall Hunter, there is no almost escaped. Either you get out alive with the loot, or you go back to the lobby empty-handed. When another hunter catches you off guard, the feeling isn't just defeat, it's having thrown away everything you built during that run. And that hurts in a way few extraction ARPGs can truly deliver. That is exactly what makes the game addictive for me. The mist isn't just scenery, it's the battlefield where every decision carries weight. You go in knowing you could leave rich or with nothing. And this duality, this real risk of losing everything, is what turns every raid into a different story. Another thing that caught me off guard in Mistfall Hunter was this decision to completely ditch the isometric view and move to a more direct, physical third-person combat. This changes not only the camera, but the entire feel of the game. Instead of controlling everything from above, you start feeling every movement, every dodge, every mistake. And the most interesting part is how combat feels much more active. Free aiming changes the dynamic completely, because you don't just rely on lock-on or button mashing abilities, you actually need to land your hits. Combine that with quick dodges and combos, and the game starts leaning more toward pure action than that more automatic style many people associate with ARPGs. I also really like the idea of swapping weapons mid-fight because it leaves room for improvisation. It isn't just about setting up a build outside the match and calling it a day. During combat, you can adapt your strategy in real time. This makes every encounter more unpredictable, especially when combined with the extraction system that already punishes any mistake. It seems Mistfall Hunter is trying to mix the best of both worlds, the progression and loot of ARPGs with the intensity of a third-person action game. And in my view, if this combat is indeed responsive and well-balanced, it could be the exact edge that makes the game stand out among so many similar titles. Man, there are things in Mistfall Hunter that caught me completely off guard. I was expecting just another extraction ARPG with nice loot and visceral combat, but then I stumbled upon this lore and simply couldn't get it out of my head. Just picture it. The gods didn't just lose a war, they were completely annihilated. And it wasn't a glorious ending with light and redemption. It was total carnage, a cosmic slaughter between the Norse gods and the outer gods, where the entire pantheon was wiped out. That alone changes the tone of the game completely. It's not about heroes proving their worth to the heavens. It's about surviving in a world where heaven has died, and what remains is divine rot oozing onto the ground. And that's where things get disturbing. The blood of these dead gods didn't turn into sacred rivers or rain of blessings. It turned into the Gildan Mist, a golden, corrosive mist that is gradually consuming Weaver Reach. There is something deeply cruel about this imagery. Gold, which we usually associate with treasure, divinity, and reward, is acid here. It is poison. It's as if the very essence of the gods became corrupted in death. Or perhaps their death is so incomprehensible that not even their blood can maintain the form of something benign. To me, this is high-level world building. It doesn't use Norse mythology as wallpaper. It shatters it, subverts it, and turns the sacred into an active threat. Now think about the practical implications of this. The mist isn't just destroying the world. It is driving mad and mutating everything it touches. This perfectly explains why you, as a player, need to enter, grab what is valuable, and run out before the Gildan Mist catches you. The environment isn't just hostile, It is an agonizing god trying to drag you down with it. And that reminds me of that sense of claustrophobia and urgency that few extraction games manage to create organically. It isn't just a timer on the screen or a closing zone. It is the very logic of the universe telling you, you don't belong here, and the ground you stepped on is no longer the same. What gets me excited about Mistfall Hunter is seeing such a mechanical genre, which usually thrives on numbers, builds, and optimization, being fed by such a visceral and dark narrative. This idea that divine death created an environmental disease, a golden plague, adds weight to every extraction run. You aren't just farming items, you are looting the ashes of a world that the gods themselves couldn't save. And if the lore is respected the way it was presented, I think we're going to have something very special on our hands. Not just a good ARPG, but a game that makes you feel the weight of a broken cosmos. You don't enter this game as just another generic adventurer. You have already died. That's it. Your character is a fallen hero, someone who has already failed, already fallen in the mist, and yet comes back. I love it when an extraction ARPG doesn't treat death as just, you lost your loot, but as part of the character's core identity. Here, death isn't the end of the story, it's the starting point. The one who brings you back is Dew, a mysterious girl who is a fragment of the goddess of fate's soul. That idea alone carries immense weight. It's not just a random NPC resurrecting you at an altar. It's a piece of a goddess, almost a child, giving you back your life with a purpose. I keep imagining the vibe of this during the first hour of gameplay. You wake up, not really knowing what happened, and this strange figure looks at you as if she already knows what you're going to face. There is a mix of hope and discomfort in this that works really well for me. And the detail that wraps up the whole package. She gives you an immortal body. Not for you to become an invincible god and smash everything, but for you to return to the mist and try to save the world. In other words, immortality with a mission. You are a guild hunter. You fell once, and now you carry the chance, or the obligation, not to fail again. That changes how I approach every run. Entering the mist isn't just, I'm going to farm and leave rich. It's a dead hero trying to fix what Destiny hasn't finished yet. For anyone who enjoys extraction with actual lore, this has the potential to hook you. It's not just an enter-kill-extract loop. It's a loop with a soul. You are what's left of an ancient failure, pushed back into the chaos by someone who barely seems human. If the game knows how to use this well in cutscenes, dialogue tone, and map atmosphere, I'm already sold on this premise alone. Dead, resurrected, and back into the mist. Simple, heavy, and right in line with the style that makes me want to see what comes next. In this game, it's not just about getting in, grabbing loot, and getting out. There is a bigger objective behind it, which is collecting Gildan blood to rebuild the Web of Fate. This already changes the feeling because your actions don't feel entirely isolated. I like it when extraction games try to justify this loop within the world, and here it works well. The idea that each raid is basically a small step toward fixing something that was destroyed in a divine war gives a more epic context to something that, in practice, could just be a grind. And there is a detail I find very strong. Every run becomes a thread in this reconstruction. This is simple, but it creates a cool connection between mechanical progression and narrative. Even when you don't leave with the best loot in the world, there is still that feeling that you contributed a little to something bigger. This could be the kind of thing that keeps the player engaged for longer. Because it's not just about getting stronger or getting a rare item. It's about taking part in an ongoing process within that world. And when the game manages to make you feel that, the loop stops being repetitive and starts having a purpose. We are used to ARPGs where you pick a class and basically sign a blood contract with a single weapon style. You pick an archer, you use a bow. You pick a mage, you stay back throwing fireballs. But not here. Each of the 6 classes, Mercenary, Sorcerer, Black Arrow, Shadow Strix, Seer, and Withered Knight, has access to 2 completely different weapon stances. And the craziest part is that you switch between them mid-fight, without taking a breath, without annoying menus, without ridiculous cooldowns. It's fluid and seamless. This completely changes how I approach class selection. Normally I think, does this class fit my playstyle? Here I have to think, how do these 2 weapons complement each other? Imagine the Black Arrow switching between long-range shots and suddenly dropping into a brutal melee stance. Or the Sorcerer not just being the staff guy, but having a second side that allows for a more aggressive, close-quarters approach. The Withered Knight sounds like someone who starts off heavy, but now imagine him swapping from a defensive stance to an unrestrained offensive one mid-combo. It's not just visual variety, it's two combat identities residing inside the same character. What I liked most is how this speeds up the rhythm of battles. You aren't just spamming the same skill rotation until the enemy drops. You are constantly assessing. Am I too far away? Switch. Is the damage window open? Switch again. This creates a layer of mechanical expression I didn't expect from an extraction game. Combos stop being memorized sequences and become improvisation. You read the battlefield and respond with the right persona at the right time. It's almost as if each class is actually two classes in one, and the game gives you full control to decide which one dominates every second of combat. Honestly, I think this is the cleverest feature they could have implemented. In a genre where gameplay can become repetitive after a few runs, especially when you are farming loot, having this duality in the classes keeps every match fresh. I'm already imagining the build possibilities, how I'm going to synchronize stats between both stances, and especially how the community will discover crazy combos by switching stances on the exact frame. If the execution is as good as the concept, Mistfall Hunter could end up being the extraction ARPG with the most satisfying combat on the market. One of the things that makes me most excited for this game is the promise of zero pay to win. The devs repeated this multiple times. Money only buys cosmetics through fake coins. In 2026, with so many extraction games trying to push battle passes, loot boxes, and paid advantages on you, hearing this clearly is somewhat rare. I am naturally skeptical of these kinds of statements, but when the studio emphasizes it more than once, it at least makes me want to believe it and test it out calmly. Another detail that matters to me is the infrastructure. The game will have servers across 5 regions. For those who play extraction games, high ping isn't just a little bit of lag. It means lost loot, unfair fights, and wanting to close the game. Knowing there is broader coverage makes me feel more reassured about entering a serious run without feeling like the server is on the other side of the planet. This, combined with anti-pay-to-win practices, gives off a vibe of, we want skill to decide, not your wallet. And the price tag really helps with that impression. The standard edition comes in at $24.99, plus a 10% launch discount. For an extraction ARPG with visceral third-person combat and heavy dark fantasy visuals, that is very accessible. I'm not saying cheap guarantees quality, but it lowers the risk of trying it out. It's the kind of price point that makes me think, alright, if the loop is good, I'll jump in without feeling like I spent my monthly budget on a questionable early access. The total package that gets me hyped is this overlap. The tension of an extraction shooter in the style of Hunt, Showdown, and Tarkov, paired with in-your-face action combat and a dark atmosphere. It's close to launch, expectations are high, and I confess I'm in that phase of, I want to see if it delivers. If progression is truly fair and the combat carries the weight of the premise, this could be one of those games that stays glued to your library for a long time. For now, the concept lines up very well with what I like to see in this genre.